Yo, what's up? What's up, people? How's it going, man? Now, I don't think you can. Uh, I like you don't see the chat, so uh, wait a minute. Just wait a little minute. There we go. Beautiful. How's it going, man? I hope that everything's going out well. And as of right now, for me, it's perfect. Right now, I am really, really good because there was a very interesting video that I was watching and I want to watch it with you guys. All right. I am now, I smoked. All right. So I'm a little high. So that I think that's going to help. Yeah, I'm so fucking stoned. But there we go. Why modern dating is broken. And this is by Whatifalthist. And let me guys, so you can see that. There we go. Well, there we go. Now, it's a very... I still don't understand why he made this video. Like, I'm trying to, like, really... Like, I understand that there's a problem, right? Like, I get that. My dad has been kind of disappointing. The TV is broken. Oh, dude. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's probably... I mean... Do you watch a lot of TV? Maybe you don't. I mean, I know I don't. But yeah, this video is fucking wild. Remember what Whatifalthist made alternate history videos? Yeah, that was nice. That used to be nice. But I feel like he's gotten a lot more political and just a lot more kind of incel-ish. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think anymore, you know? I used to be like just a guy. Remember when I was a guy that reacted to Whatifalthist? Now, I can't even react to his videos. His videos are like not very good anymore. It's like, I'm sorry, but they aren't very good. Yeah, we all know why we're here. Whatifalthist might be in some pre-Andrew Tate face. Oh my God, dude, that's gonna be horrible. You know, we thought he was like some kind of really smart guy, you know, but now I don't know. I mean, it's definitely disappointing for sure. It's a little bit disappointing. Yeah, it's pretty weird also. Yeah, is he gonna talk about like the Matrix and like we are all like fucking ship it, whatever? That's gotta be a little funny. Okay, let me give me 1 second. All right, I'm ready. Big L. I hope it's, yeah, Whatifalthist L? Yeah, he just radicalized as time went on, in my opinion. I also think that's true. I don't know why, where does he get those takes? I don't know. Yeah, he definitely needs some reflection though. He needs some self-reflection and start thinking about like what the normal world is like. I don't know, man. It's just been fucking weird.
Lonely? Do you feel like no
Like, take a look at this shit.
matter and you'll never find love and your daily existence is a meaningless, monotonous dribble of boredom, alleviated by hedonism, and that no one treats you like a real human being?
Like, who says that, bro? Who fucking says that, dude? Holy shit.
With you just being a cog in the machine, have you tried dating apps only for the results to be incredibly depressing and have resigned yourself to loneliness? Well, psych.
This is gonna be torture. Whoa. Yeah, it's gonna be fucking torture. And I am here to be tortured, you know? Yeah, we're gonna have some fun. This is gonna be, yeah, it's 1 hour long. Yeah. He needs an ego check. I remember when he did the debate against Bosch. Like, we were all supporting him and all, but he came off like, yeah, like a little cocky, like a little like know-it-all. So it was definitely pretty strange. Anyways.
You're alone. You're a loser. I'm just fucking with you.
What?
I'm guessing for the vast majority of this audience that
I wasn't. Oh, you weren't.
The reason
yeah.
I'm saying that
well,
is
most of us.
that I've heard this from the vast majority of young people I know.
And that's the first. Okay, so here we have our first big problem, right? He's like, oh, I know this is a big problem because I heard. I heard it from my friends. Right? But that's not like a good way to really analyze a very serious subject, right? Like, if you're not okay, if you, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm too stoned, but I just don't get why. I wasn't on either of their sides. Okay, got it. You know, like, you can't, like, I understand loneliness. I think, can we all agree that loneliness is like a real issue, that social media and technology and urban living has done a lot to socialization. Well, it has done a lot to like loneliness. People are lonelier. Like, I would agree with that. But when he starts talking about Tinder and like dating via apps and like incels and chats, that's what you gotta go like, bro, what? I mean, what the fuck? Yeah. What about the egoist? Yeah, it's pretty odd.
I'm a pretty social guy, and I talk to all kinds of people.
That's a weird flex, but all right. I'm a pretty social guy.
That are billionaires, male models, incredibly charismatic, or social.
Wait, what? What?
Social guy, and I talk to all kinds of people, and almost every young man, even ones that are billionaires, male models, incredibly charismatic, or sociable, have told me.
Yo, what the fuck is Whatifalthist talking to billionaire? That's some of the goofiest shit I've heard, bro. It's like talking to like billionaires. Like, come on, bro, just like chill a little. All right, we get it. You're a smart guy, but I don't know, man. Jesus.
Yes. There was a Greek philosopher named Diogenes who wandered around the
yeah, Diogenes. Yeah, he was a pretty dope guy.
An honest man, and the bit was that he never found one. In my process of founding a social club in Los Angeles, I struggled to find a single young person who's not lonely and likes their dating and social life. And I don't know, guys. I think I could have more friends, but overall, I'm pretty happy with my social and dating life. It could be better, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. It could be a lot better, but I'm happy, and I have a few friends. I date a lot. So any of you guys with an issue, we all have issues, all right? But like, any of you guys like feel like truly you're lacking on friendships and relationships? I know a lot of people do, but I think it's not like a majority problem. I don't know. Chobo, get some girls. Hell yeah, bro. Not gonna lie, I don't have a social life. Oh shit. Diogenes would call him, what about a loser, and chill out. Yeah, I know, right? Diogenes would be like roasting his ass. He would be roasting most of our asses. But anyway, let's continue. To fail.
Holy shit.
The question I'd like to answer in this video is, why is it the case and what to do about it? I'm going to use my understanding of history and society to explain the variables and conditions causing this, which are more complicated and go deeper than you could possibly imagine, showing the seedy underbelly of our culture.
Okay, pretty confident. We like that. We like a confident king. Is the volume of the microphone correct? Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
This video was a lot of research to make, and a great resource to look at if you're trying to figure out history.
Sponsor. We're not going to watch the sponsor right now.
Variety of top base price.
Fuck it. I just don't want to do it. Like, I kind of agree with him. Most of my friends, even the ones who date a lot, are not happy with their dating life. But why not? I don't get it. Like, what's missing? If you're having a lot of dates, like, you're doing pretty good, right? It's not about the destination, it's about the journey, it's about dating. Maybe you're not very successful at like getting girlfriends, but if you're getting dates, at least like you're getting dates, I think that's fine. I don't know.
This video is structured a bit differently than many of my others.
You're getting some, right?
Less academic and historical material and more from anecdotal evidence I've gathered from just talking to people. And
you know what I think is like very like a huge problem too? Like how how do you say it? Never mind. I don't remember really. It's about finding meaning in other people. Yeah. No, serious relationships, just short thing and superficial.
A lot of ways, this is because
But I
it's a
mean,
less
well,
academic topic.
I get it. Yeah.
What
I know.
academia writes about is always 10 to 20 years behind what the actual problems are in society. Growing up in Pennsylvania, I was so
He
surprised.
grew up in Pennsylvania. Holy shit. He's from Philly. I don't know, man. That's kind of weird. I don't know anyone from Pennsylvania. Maybe it's just like a they thing.
But
I
no
don't
one
know.
talked about deindustrialization and the collapse of our middle-class jobs, which was obvious in my area until Trump made them too public to ignore. Also, most academics are older people who are very disconnected from problems that overwhelmingly...
I hope that with this, he doesn't mean like, oh, older professors don't know what incel and chat is. Like, bro, those are not scientific terms, bro. Like, you can't go around talking about a scientific idea and then use the word chat, you know, like, oh, scientifically speaking, chats are like 95% more likely to, like, bro, that's like, chill, man.
target the young like this.
My
Dating
God.
is also a really
Bro,
human thing
it's
that
been
can't be
3 minutes. It's been 3 minutes and I'm already like,
quantified
Peace
as
out.
well and has to be treated more as an art than a science. I have a really large network and talk to all varieties of people, so I've heard
Yeah.
most perspectives of society. I understand this video is less scientific than others, but I'm a
love that.
YouTuber, so I really don't have to be scientific all the time. And I think people need to put out these theories explaining stuff like this, since this is such an important issue to all of us. One of the points I'm going to tease out in this video is that I don't think anyone is really to blame.
Look at this man. He definitely has a lot of white boy vibe. I don't know. What do you guys think? He does remind me like the stereotypical white boy. I don't know. It's just pretty funny though. I mean, it's not like I know much about fashion, right, or anything. Try to listen before passing judgment. All right.
Here.
No, let's do it.
I believe
Yeah.
that when you're talking to someone, they really
Okay,
just
you know what? You're right. Let's be fair. Let's not pass any judgment before we hear any arguments, all right? Let's give him a chance. Let's try to... Hello, Thomas. Let's give him a chance and let's see if like the video actually gets better.
want to be heard and understood. I think we're all children of God, and so when I talk to people, I try to connect with and not judge.
Oh, yo, children of God? He is a Christian? Wow, that's surprising. Yeah. I mean, he does have a lot of like pro-religion, pro-faith arguments, but I never thought he was like actually religious. A little strange. I don't know. Did you guys knew he was Christian?
Judge them.
How are you doing?
Because
Pretty
of
good,
that, I hear
man.
lots of
Pretty
people's personal
good.
Stories about their loneliness
This is a
and dating
stoned
lives.
reaction, so I think
What
it's
I've
gonna be
found
funnier.
is that most people just want to blame
Okay. Incels. I don't know why women these days are all degenerate, and I'm not going to get involved with any of them until they get a grip. Okay. Feminazis. He's a Quaker? Oh, you're right. He was from Pennsylvania. He might as well be a Quaker. Yeah. I mean, well, there's a lot of Quakers in Pennsylvania. That's interesting, though. That's pretty interesting. Feminazis. Anyways, porn is a tool of oppression that men use. Yeah, I mean, these are both ridiculous, right?
some other
We know.
group, whether men,
Okay.
women, feminism, porn, and the like. Or they'll say someone else is really doing well, like women, chads, the rich, tall, etc. However, what I've seen talking to chads, beautiful women, the rich, incel...
You know, he gets it. He talks with beautiful women. My man here is a Chad himself. He talks with a lot of beautiful women. You know, he just wanted to let you know. Well, I like that.
every
I
other
like his
group,
style.
is that most people are trying their
confident.
best in a hard system, and no one is really winning or at the top. Ridiculous as it sounds, even the so-called chads who have...
But here's the thing, yo. I really don't get it. First time live, feel so proud. Hello, welcome, my friend. We are a very open community. I don't know, man.
had lots of sex, really don't like it, and feel depressed in the current system. This kind of reminds me of my videos on social collapses, or why
Why does
rise
it
of
have to be
food's
like
skyrocketing right now?
a competition,
all of which
you know?
aren't really caused by a single
I think that you can't really compare love or a dating life as you can compare the economy. You can't say, oh, there's a top 1% in dating. I mean, it's not the same thing. Like, usually, if you're the top 1%, let's say, in terms of money, like, you're very powerful. But, like, what does it even mean? Like, being at the top 1%, like, you have a lot of sex? Is that it? Because you guys were talking about how, like, important relationships are. And I don't know, I'm mumbling.
Single person or thing, but rather complicated confluences of variables that hurt everyone. I think there are 3 big reasons that make dating
the most desirable.
And by moving through those,
it's still a pretty strange concept, right? Like the most desirable. Well, some people like money, some people like looks, some people like goals, like fitness or stuff like that. You know, like people like a lot of different things. I don't know.
I'll explain how they will affect our society's development in the future.
From Reunion.
These problems all bleed together,
the
forming a coherent net of depression that's massively holding society back. Our problems with dating and marriage relate back to broader problems in our whole modern civilization that manifest here. I sincerely believe that if we can't solve these problems over the next
Rome, the fall of Rome,
years, our civilization is doomed to fall back into another dark age. That sounds bombastic, but I'll explain why over the course of this video. The question I'm sure a lot of people, especially older folks, will be asking at this point is it really that bad? Isn't this just something incels or other people at the bottom of the social totem pole complain about? The answer I'll give is...
It's like you cannot measure love. You cannot measure dating life. Some people can have like 100 dates and be unhappy, and someone might have 1 or 2 dates and be very happy with it. You can't really measure love, and that's the thing. Guys like this, they try to quantify love. They try to like use love as some sort of statistic. People like this usually use Tinder statistics in order to try to prove a point. But in reality, like, you can't really compare love to like dating apps. It's not the same thing. It's fucked up. Dating apps are fucked up, sure, but...
It's an unequivocal yes. Let's look at some stats. The amount of young men under the age...
Can you though? Can we like really measure the people happy with their life? Like, some of the people theoretically living better lives, let's say in the Nordic countries, by all statistics, they should be considered some of the happiest countries in the world, but they have some of the highest like suicide rates. So like, can you really measure happiness though? Is there a way to measure happiness? I don't think so. I've never used a dating app. I've used them before. I think it's like good sometimes, but it's been over a year since I've been your reaction to Whatifalthist videos. Seems like you, yeah, cool tremendously. Thanks, man. Yeah, I've
30,
cooled a lot
no
on him.
sex since turning age 18. Or
I feel like he's been some sort of like kind of radical.
Basically virgins, has nearly quadrupled.
Okay, so I've seen this number before. Young male virginity on the rise. Yeah, but again, there's still a good majority that's still getting sex. You know, it's like, well, you still have to think that over 70% of people are still losing their virginity. This is not like, it looks pretty bad, but you also have to think, well, there's been a pandemic, there's been economic crises. Like, I do get it.
Over the last 15 years, going from 8 to 27% of the population. The horrible thing to consider is that since this is something young men are insecure about, they're probably massively lying or skewing the data in a survey like this, so the real numbers are undoubtedly much higher. I mean, also, in many ways, this is just scraping the bottom of the barrel, where there's a world of difference between having had one sexual partner.
Okay, what is this? A lack of sex is driven mainly by the young. So less young people want to have sex. Percent reporting no sex in the past year. Holy shit. 18 to 29, 23%. Wow, that's a little strange. He's just trying to be Andrew Tate. Oh, please no. Sure, standards of living can be great, but if your life is crappy socially or suicide rates are up, then there must be something wrong. Yeah, exactly. There's something I believe in urbanization precisely that
and having a
affects social life,
sexual life that
like we all live in like big cities, right? And if you live in a big city, it's sometimes very hard to socialize. Most of us, I imagine, live in apartments, right? I live in my own apartment and it is lonely sometimes. That's true. But there are also huge opportunities to socialize. If you're in a city, there's probably a lot of concerts, a lot of events, right? A lot of people at the gym, a lot of people at the library, a lot of people at the subway station. So living in cities, I think it's a good argument why loneliness has increased, but I think we can solve that. Like, I don't. I live in a small town. I live in a small town too. Oh shit. Well, maybe I'm just the only one who lives in a big city.
Could make a young man happy. And you have to imagine that if, let's say, a third of the population under the age of 30 are virgins, conservatively, that a much higher amount of men are not satisfied with their sexual lives. This is the first time ever in American and possibly world history where a majority of the population is childless and unmarried at age 30. Yeah. This is also the first time when a majority of people in their 20s are single. 60% of single women and 43% of single men have just given up on dating or trying to date or looking for someone at all. 90% of young people feel lonely on a regular basis. The largest group in America has literally...
Okay, so this is a more interesting argument. I mean, why are Gen Z people more lonely? I mean, my generation and probably some of y'all generation too. Why are we lonelier, bro? Like, what's wrong with us? Holy shit.
0 friends today. On the marriage side, which comes out of dating, half of all marriages end in divorce. I'll tell you a bit about my own personal story.
Why does he post, why does he have a picture of himself? This is not even a good picture, though. It sucks. What is he doing, bro? He's lost his man. He will address that. Oh, shit.
At the start of 2021, I joined an organization for exceptional young people run by someone who used to be part of Jake Paul's management. It had NBA stars, Netflix actresses, billionaires, and the like. It wasn't really the Illuminati. We weren't plotting to take over the world. We just got drunk together a lot.
So what do you think? My man here talks with billionaires and talks with geniuses. I think that's pretty hilarious, though. I'm not going to lie. I think that's so funny. But hey, good for him. Maybe he sees something we don't. Maybe he's smarter. I don't know.
Shut down due to a crisis in its leadership, but I've teamed up with the former
guy. A friend of mine got married at 20 and had a kid at 22. That's awesome. I mean, that's pretty cool for them. A friend of mine also had a kid at like 20 or 21. So, I mean, but it's Mexico, though. It's not. We got the whole French Empire. Yeah, we've got speakers from France, from Quebec, and from now Reunion. Let's go.
Who was a de facto co-founder to recreate it in LA. From this, I've met some of the most successful young people in the country. Also, Whatifalthist is a really sick and wonderful fan base of successful, interesting, and really cool people who tend to watch this content.
I know.
From these two bases, I have a data set of hundreds of incredibly interesting, successful young people. Also, I've been a digital nomad, living in a bunch of countries, and I purposely reach out to different kinds of people.
It's a feature of the world we live in. That's an interesting take.
To get their perspective so I can feel like I have a good idea of what life is like for different people. The reason I bring this up is that under normal circumstances, you would see the more successful young people in society having the most romantic and sexual opportunities. However, if that demographic is screwed, what's happening to everyone else? Just like Diogenes.
What? Bro, is he suggesting that like attractive people and like rich people are having problems dating? Okay, let's hear him out.
The more you see, the more depressed you get. The thing I found is that the most successful guys in society often struggle as much in dating as normal people. Often even more, in fact, since they tend to end up in entirely male-dominated industries. Of the 50 most attractive, charismatic, successful, high-value guys I know, about 3 are in relationships, and most of those aren't even good relationships.
Kind of a weird thing to say.
Very high-quality women like actresses, singers, models, and the like tend to be in relationships, but the norm is for them to often date far beneath their own level. If you're a beautiful model, you're probably dating a nearly broke photographer you met at work or some guy you ran into who lives at your apartment. Normal people like to assume the rich live amazing lives, which often really isn't true. Our standard of living for young people isn't that great since cost of living in major cities is insane, and there aren't people throwing crazy parties and networking all the time. The most successful people in my age group tend to live lives much like normal people, just with a bit more money. However, what caused these issues? In the same way that when you pull up a log in the woods, you see the maggots eating it from inside that are normally hidden, I will show what I believe the causes of these things and what it means for society.
Oh, boy.
Number one, the internet.
Okay. I think we're gonna start with a strong one. Okay, I think the social media argument, I buy it. I think in part we are more isolated because there's social media, and I think it's a way to get lost very easily, but we'll see. I think I will agree with this one. Then there's our grandparents' generation who probably got married in their late teens. Yeah, my grandparents, for example, got married when they were like 19. I think my grandparents were married at my age, 23. Yeah, they got married somewhere along those lines. See, the video is not that terrible. Like, he is biased, but it's not very bad. Okay, he's trying to mention personal stories connected to the topic, but probably shouldn't, because it will come like humble brag. Yeah, it's kind of like humble brag.
If you are a man or a pretty
I mean, good for
large
him if he
chunk of
like
women,
actually
the
does
only
these
real way to
things.
date today is through dating apps. Unless you're in school or you have some
Oh, I like this one. This is when I paused it and I decided to stream. I watched the first 9 minutes of the video, but as of right now, like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Definitely, socializing online and socializing in person is not comparable. Exactly. Yeah, it's really not comparable. And yeah, not nearly enough as fulfilling. So most people nowadays are meeting online. But we have this huge increase like in the 2000s when people started meeting online. Before that, they used to meet through family. Holy fuck, that sounds old as shit. Remember when people used to meet through families? That's kind of weird. I don't know. When it says family, like, what kind of family are we talking? Like, literal family? I don't know. It's old times. I don't know, man. I find his presence to be ridiculous. Sometimes I wish social media wasn't created. I don't know.
some
I don't
special
know.
factor, like you're in a town where the church is extremely strong.
Yeah,
there simply
church.
is no other way to meet the other sex on a frequent basis. This
I guess.
isn't something I've wanted to believe.
I don't think that's true, though. I mean, I think it's pretty easy to meet women. I think it's pretty straightforward. You just go to a gym, you can go to a concert, to an event. Again, I've mentioned these things. Like, I think you can meet people. Yeah, meet people through people. Yeah, this is where I disagree. Like, he's talking about how socializing is like this very hard, complicated thing. It's really not. I mean, if you go to the gym, you're gonna make like at least a friend. If you go to parties or events or like yoga studios, like there's a bunch of like dancing classes, acting classes, all sorts of classes. I don't know. You would meet at work, at the club, or through friends or family. Oh, okay.
But
Does
as I've
Whatifalthist live in a suburb? I mean, I know. I think he doesn't. I think he probably lives like in a big city.
seen more and more of the world, it's become an unavoidable.
Man, when you live in a village and there's like 4 women of your age, it's hard. Bro, you live in like a village like that, like in rural France? That'd be fucking awesome. Well, he will address why socializing has gotten harder. Okay, no, you're right. You're right.
Young people really don't go to bars anymore, and no one really
That's not
has
true.
strong enough social networks to do dating through people they've actually met. It's kind of insane,
Okay.
since dating apps were viewed as weird and suspect 10 to 15 years ago, but now they're mandatory. This is horrifying, since the apps are terrible and possibly the worst way.
I wouldn't say it's mandatory. Many of you guys haven't used dating apps like you've told me, so I don't know if it's like mandatory. I don't think like most people, even the majority of people, have dating apps. Mandatory, yeah, it's kind of like, by young he means 18 to 28. Okay.
Could ever design dating in a society. Let's start with how, if dating apps were a country, they would be the second most unequal in the world.
Here's where it gets crazy though. You can't make comparisons using Tinder and like fucking countries. Like, that's not how it works, bro. Like, what do you mean inequality? Inequality how? I don't know. This is just fucking just moved out. Back in the day, you can't date someone new and everybody knows each other. Okay, yeah. I've never used dating apps and I've met people. As a 20-year-old, I can say that most people meet via dating app. Okay.
Tinder as a country is right behind South Africa in inequality, the most...
Okay, maybe this is a difference between Mexico and the US, but in Mexico, it's rare that people use dating apps. It's not rare. Like, a lot of people do use them, but I think it's like not particularly common amongst the majority. In most cases, the man has to walk up to a woman in order to get a date. Yeah, it's rare to see women talk to men and make a date unless it's for like a YouTube video. Yeah, I think, I guess I agree.
Unequal country in the world, and ahead of Venezuela. The impression I've gotten from
But bro,
Tinder
it's
is
a
that
country.
you can still be a really handsome guy and wealthy and get very little luck. And it's not even the top 10 or 5% of men who do well. It's the top 1 or less. It's very similar to the American economy, where the top 1...
Yo, and he's talking about wealth and wealth inequality, and there's attractiveness inequality.
1% aren't the people who are getting the most. It's the top 0.1 who get far outsized gains.
But like, I don't get it. What does he think? Does he think that like dating is easy, or that should be easy? Dating should be hard. Finding the person that you love and that you want to marry, that should be a hard task. You should have a hard time. Like, that's just how it works, man. Like, dating, yeah, it's fucking hard. You face rejection. That's an absolute fact. You face a lot of rejection. And that can be tough for the ego, especially. So, like, I get if it's hard, but is it like impossible for like 99.09% of people to be okay when it comes to dating, or like at least be decent when it comes to socializing? I don't know. It's just...
I have a friend who is a handsome guy, incredibly charismatic.
Then there's the second most unequal country in the world, according to Whatifalthist. Yeah, I know. It's just fucking insane, dude. He's saying that the top 1% of men versus 99% men get action. That is absolute bullshit. All right, look at me, bro. Like, I look like a fucking homeless guy right now. It's not like I don't get any, you know? So it's actually like pretty, the bar is on the ground. If you do like, as a man, the bare fucking minimum, like, you're gonna get it. It's like the bar is low. It's really low. Most girls don't expect shit from other men. It's actually pretty goddamn simple. And look, I look like a homeless man. Like I said, guys, I don't think it's hard. I don't think it's 99%, a majority of men. Like, do you seriously think that? Like I said, it shouldn't be easy. Dating will never be easy for anyone. But is it like possible that you get like a few dates every now and then? I think so. Yeah, disproportionate spread sexual market. What sexual market, man? Come on. Gamers are truly the most oppressed we live in a society. Jesus.
Charismatic and kind of genius, and he's put his intelligence behind trying to hack the dating apps.
Love takes time and work. Yeah, exactly. It's difficult being in love and having to be loved. That's like a difficult thing. That means a lot, that you have to open yourself to a new other person. Like, holy shit, like, that's a lot. It shouldn't be easy. I don't know why.
Successful multimillionaire tech CEO. He's done stuff like run 5 accounts on each of the major dating apps, have an assistant manage each of those accounts, automate his text replies, and get professional grade photos while working out every day. He's found...
No, bro. No, I don't fucking believe this shit. I don't fucking believe this. At least, I don't think, like, listen, if you are a millionaire, a multi-millionaire, guy who works out, who is a tech CEO, and you're like optimizing dating and you can't get any women, I think that's on you. I don't think that's on society. That's on you. Like, how could you not get any action? Like, yeah, that sounds like, yeah.
That he can get a good amount.
Yeah, what if all this is acting like beer doesn't exist as booster either? Yeah.
Of average quality girls, but that none are of quality that he would marry or even date long term. This is evidence I've corroborated from my own personal experience and other friends who have done similar things. This is since women tend to have two separate settings for dating, and we've found this in studies.
What?
Women have higher standards since they can only have one child a year, while a man could theoretically sire 1,000 in a year. The process of raising a human child is also incredibly long, expensive, and laborious. Women either want a man who will
Yeah, with the rise of anxiety and depression with Gen Z, everyone has become more afraid of opening up and socializing. And I think that's a real issue. If you ask me, I think that's like the real issue, that we're getting depressed, we're getting anxious. We have social media that makes us more depressed and more anxious. How can we manage that? How can we, that's the real, like a very real thing. But he's not viewing it like that. He's like, oh, it's all about chats. Nowadays, chats can't even get dates. I mean, well, it's easy to ruin your life in the age of social media. Oh, yeah.
support
It's just a very, like, what the fuck is this supposed to
mean?
mean?
And if they can't find that, they'll have a one-night stand with the highest genetic quality of man, just for the value of his seed. Even with
The value of
expectation
its
he won't
seed. Bro, what? The fuck? Definitely our generation will suffer due to anxiety. Yeah, there is a lot of anxiety and depression out there. And like a lot of people should, I take my medicine every fucking day.
stick around. A woman might have a one-night stand with Jason Derulo knowing that he will never raise a child with them, since he's Jason Derulo. The sexual dynamic created by the apps is that there are very few winners. Lots of men think that women love the apps since they can get as much sex as they want since they're preyed at infinite amounts of guys. But they don't realize that's not what women generally want. I've heard it feels like going through a bazaar getting hawked at by all the people trying to sell their products. No woman without serious psychological problems.
Whatifalthist has officially gone off deep end. Yeah. Previous generations could screw around and find themselves and then make better choices about public located record of them being, I don't know,
really wants to have sex with a different guy every night of the week as a stable thing, since sex is emotionally very different for women than men since they pair bonds during it. Remember, biologically sex is much more expensive for women than men, and so their bodies release oxytocin during sex to emotionally connect them to the man, which doesn't happen for men. For women, promiscuous sex often feels terrible, and even though they might occasionally fuck a Chad off Tinder,
I mean, he's talking for women. He's like, oh, I know sex feels terrible for women sometimes. Well, how do you know that? And how do you know that it's not due because of other things? There's a lot of prejudice on sex. Like, people won't have sex because of the prejudice. So, I don't know, man. It's really sus. This video, it's only 12 minutes in, and my brain's already melting. Didn't even realize you were streaming today. Jumped in the 30-minute mark. Hello, brother. We're just analyzing whatever
really looking
this
to
is.
lock down Mr. Right, with an exception I'll discuss later. However, they're not meeting Mr. Right on dating apps, rather guys that pretend to be him and then leave them. Most of the highest quality women I know don't trust dating apps at all and use them out of necessity. For the vast majority of men, they get nothing or crumbs from dating apps. Remember, since we've basically erased every other form of dating, this means that the vast majority...
No, we have not. We haven't erased every other method. I mean, most people don't meet online. Do you guys remember his fucking graph where he had like people met online, through friends, through family? Online was like 40%. And online doesn't mean dating apps. Online means on the internet, on Instagram, through Facebook, through other social media, through Reddit, I don't know. Right? Like that, it's not dating apps. Dating apps are even a smaller percentage. So he's like, everything else is dead? Like, for real though? Is he gonna go there? No, man. No.
of men, except
he already lost
those
me. Yeah.
who are in the top 1% or more of attractiveness, have very few dates.
On the ghosted
also,
bar?
although I don't
Yeah.
know from personal experience,
Bro, I just arrived, and this is what I see, bro.
This is similar in the gay community, where gay guys are generally more willing
One of my
to have
favorite
sex
exes
than
I
women
met on
are.
Discord.
However,
Yeah, I know that happens
this
all the
just means
time.
that conditions become more competitive and gay men become more picky.
So yeah, I can't believe that he said, oh, we've erased all other methods of meeting people. No, we have not. Like, are
And
you
so
crazy?
You see the same kind of stratification
Are you
coming out of the dating
fucking
apps.
crazy, dude?
Remember, this applies for very wealthy and charismatic guys, people who would
No.
already be married in every other era. This group of men are basically
This happens to antisocial people. All right, you can be wealthy, but you're also antisocial. You can be wealthy, but be fucking terrible when it comes to dating or socializing. But that's a you problem. That's not a society problem. If a lot of people are dealing with that, then fine. IRL, you can go to any bar and pretty much find someone to talk. Yeah, so yeah.
hopeless with no direction.
All girlfriends
For the Chads
I've
who do
asked
well in this system,
out in
things really
person.
aren't
Yeah,
that great
exactly.
either. Lots of
It's
my
better,
friends
it's
are
better,
people you
but-
could call Chads who have lots of sex and are fuckboys. However, none of them are happy about it for the
God.
reason I've explained before.
Weird
is they
flexing,
can never
but
find
alright.
a girl they really want to settle down with. 3 separate times I've had a different fuckboy friend in my couch crying about how miserable being a fuckboy is. After a certain point, you just hate what you're doing in the endless, meaningless game of trying to trick girls to sleep with you by faking commitment. The guys who don't get a lot of action might be saying, come on, how can that be a real thing?
Yeah, basically, Whatifalthist has no game. Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. We're en route. What's near location? I met my future wife online. More specifically, I met her on a pen and paper RPG website. It took nearly 10 years of correspondence and being friends before I met her on a road trip. Wow, that's fucking awesome, bro. Congrats. Dude, that sounds pretty cool.
But I've seen this too much up close to be able to discount.
What else shouldn't never talk for the gay guys? I'm a bi guy, and I don't believe he would. Yeah, even though I'm a gay guy. Yeah, it's just like he
A
likes
big
to
reason
talk
this process
for
is so
women. He likes to
depressing is that
talk
it's
for
incredibly
chats. He likes to
dehumanizing.
talk for
Online
lonely
dating
people.
hookup culture, in reality, is a machine for sex and broken hearts more than anything else.
Yeah, we are analyzing Tinder statistics, you fucking guy. Like, yeah, I know if you show this to any man, it's gonna be like, wow, that's fucking crazy. Look at how much women swipe right, and look at how much men swipe left. Like, oh my god. But in reality, it's a lot more different than that. It's Tinder. It's fucking Tinder. I don't know. Gosh.
It's literally a machine that
It's
assesses you for
Tinder.
your beauty and nothing else, lets you have sex with someone else, and
Tinder
then
isn't
spits
real
you out
life.
when you want emotional support. Our modern society conceptualizes everything through the factory and industry, and so with free love, we thought, okay, let's
want
just
actual
increase the
data, not
volume of
percentages.
sex,
Yeah,
and then
hell yeah.
we'll have a lot more sex. But the problem is that you fundamentally can't separate sex from the relationships of the different people involved. And
Why
is it
not?
any irony that once we push free love in society, that the amount of sex collapsed? And for sex, relationships, and all that stuff to work, you can't just increase the volume, which is what dating apps try to do, but you need to bring together people who share
His
a
game
lot
with
of
himself.
similarities so that they have a chance of a relationship.
And that's the worst case scenario, all right? That's like the worst case scenario. You never have sex, but that's a very small percentage of people. And that's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, like everyone, you have sex like a normal average person. Not like a fucking chat, all right? Not like a fucking chat, but you have sex like a normal person. It's just like, it's a really strange thing to understand.
Working. Talking to everyone, one of the lessons I've learned is that we all just really want love, and the system doesn't provide that at all. When I talk
What
about
system?
the most successful members in society struggling to date, including very beautiful and wonderful
Joan of Arc
women
was a
alongside
virgin,
wealthy
just
men,
saying
the biggest
low.
reason is just that the acquisition system is broken. If the network people have is Tinder, that becomes the only thing that matters, and the flaws inherent in Tinder ripple across the whole.
No. Again, he does it. Again, he's like, it's Tinder. That's the only choice we got. There's Tinder and nothing else. Like, who cares? Yeah, who cares about
Society.
Tinder, bro?
Well, all the other things that would benefit you in the real world and dating suddenly don't carry nearly as much value. No
With
one
our
really
French
likes
bros,
dating
yeah.
apps, and people use them out of necessity. But the reason they're so prevalent stems back to other factors in our society related to technology, that being the digital revolution. For young people, our lives are by all accounts spent almost entirely behind screens. Any type of community,
Yeah.
even to a growing point school and work is done through a screen. It often feels like communities have never really rebuilt since the pandemic due to it forcing us to spend our entire lives in the digital world. I'd like to say that the most apt metaphor for the problems inherent in modern dating is a recession or even a sexual Great Depression. This is
a sexual, bro. A sexual Great Depression. What? A sexual Great Depression. Man, what the fuck does that even mean? This video is something else, bro. Bro, it's just 16 minutes. 16 minutes, and it's already insane. It's fucking nuts.
Recessions that's caused by macroeconomic, social, and historic factors that hurts everyone involved by lowering the supply and functioning of the broader system. In the same way that an economy can be in a recession while still having all the key components for wealth, like the workers, resources, and the like.
The Sexual Great Depression, my favorite band. Question, who else heard Digital World and thought Digimon? I didn't watch Digimon, dude, to be honest. He's just being a doomer. Yeah, a doomer boomer, yeah. Except he's years younger than me. Hey, is this part where I left the video?
Like, we can have everything we need to not have
nice,
problems,
let's watch it.
But the system is still fundamentally not healthy. A key factor here is that this is most damage to marriage, since marriages are most successful when people share values, and that normally comes from marrying someone in the same social class, ethnicity, region, religion, occupation, and the like, which is self-selected through social communities. Thus, when you remove social communities, you throw people together who share very little, thus dropping the chances of a successful relationship. We really have to keep in mind how recent these technologies are, in that the iPhone, which dominates our lives so much today, was made a little bit over 10 years ago. That means that people in our age group are really guinea pigs in a giant social experiment. We are all addicts from social media, sacrificing...
Yeah, if you're not happy with the West, go in the East, yeah. Women have been working to equalize the relationship scale. Now guys don't have, to share leverage what they want and enjoy. Yeah, that's very true, man. It has liberated a lot of women, the fact that they can make their own money and like don't depend on a man.
Everything in our lives.
You could say that's why divorce increased, but
their families, work, and lives,
marriages have remained the same.
So our social structure is being broken by digitization. It kind of reminds me what the introduction of opium was like from the British in 19th century China. Life in China was incredibly hard since the country was incredibly overpopulated, and people would work very long hours in grueling poverty. Opium in many ways became a necessary thing to just deal with how hard life was, and the Chinese called it an extra hour of light in the day. Meanwhile, there were no social mores to deal with it, and so large amounts of China's population became addicts. I don't think it's misguided to refer to technology as an addictive substance, given it's literally designed to be that way. Many of my good friends are tech CEOs, and they've pumped my knowledge to try to find ways to keep their audiences on.
I don't know, man. A lot of his comments are very interesting. I mean, why does he mention so much that a lot of his friends are tech CEOs? I don't know. It's funny. Like, maybe it's true. Maybe he has like a bunch of friends that are like really successful, but it's kind of a weird flex. I don't know. He's been mentioning it like 3 or 4 times, and like I take notice. It's kind of a weird flex. Yeah, it's okay.
On their products for as long as possible. Instagram, Facebook, Tinder, and the like literally have teams of social psychologists who test and design them so they can hack your attention and your genetic weaknesses. This is something that's very heavily backed up by the evidence, and there's an incredibly hilarious graph of the invention of the iPhone and the teen pregnancy rate, which then collapsed, or the invention of Tinder followed by the mass rise of sexlessness in young men. The top writer on addiction, Johann Hari, has a theory that I believe is correct, that it's a way of filling missing holes in the rest of our lives, like not having purpose, love, meaningful work, and the like. What they've found is that internet addicts, or the people who are more addicted than the rest of us, are normally doing it as a way to escape the rest of their lives. As Robert Putnam proves in his famous book Bowling Alone, social connections have been collapsing for decades with the rise of the internet. And as Peter Turchin has proved in his book Ages of Discord, quality of life has collapsed for the average American over the last 50 years. This means that in the same way China was falling apart when opium arrived, the internet became a way to fill the holes in our social and economic
I have
lives,
CEO
to escape
friends,
to a
okay,
digital
bro.
world where you didn't have to think about it. I'm going to cover this in much more detail later, but young people show many of the traits of addicts. Addicts don't feel comfortable away from their substances in the same way young people don't feel comfortable socializing and are always in front of their screens.
Guys, give me 5 seconds. I'll be back. I know, I have some food. Okay, so I guess some stuff has gone into chat. Guys, I'm an addict. LOL. The first week thing I do most signs. True, good point, agreed.
It consumes large parts of their life, pushing everything else of value like family.
Less babies is good. I don't want to see Whatifalthist duplicate.
Relationships,
Bro,
fun, values,
so
and just
true,
doing
man.
stuff outside. As I've talked about in my video on Gen Z, the hallmark look of our generation is a completely emotionally hollow, zombie-like person who is always attached to their screen, and then freaks out and becomes incredibly angry when things go wrong, which sounds like an addict. I see this process manifest powerfully in colleges, where I never really went to college, so I haven't experienced this firsthand. But
he didn't went to college?
From what I've heard, college dating and sexual life is pretty broken. People are often antisocial, don't do much except stay in their rooms, and college is often pretty isolating for a lot of people. This was really worsened with the pandemic, but if college kids who live in proximity and hang out aren't having fun, you know society is really broken. Before I move on to the next topic, I just want to throw in this is not a blanket disapproval of the internet and technology. For me to do that would be insanely hypocritical, given the internet is my livelihood and also how I've met almost all of my friends. It also makes our lives so much more interesting and convenient. The internet allows the most absolutely remarkable things, but also causes these problems we're talking about here.
He's a college dropout.
A big side effect of the internet is coursification and depersonalization.
That's kind of interesting,
in the environment
though.
Humans evolved in which social circles were small and
if you're a zombie and you want to get out of this cycle, the military can transform you in the best version of yourself. Oh God.
Everyone else. Sex was something that
apparently the pushback from his fellow classmates was too much for him to bear. Is that fucking true? What the fuck?
With people you knew really
That's fucking funny.
Thus was difficult to split off from the personality of that person. And B, was very intimately connected with baby making, something that only shifted due to the invention of the birth control pill 60 years ago. However, with the rise of the internet and the pill, sex became removed from these conditions of personality and child rearing to just become the emotion, lust, and fucking. A very large factor with this is porn, which went from being something that was very difficult to get to being completely ubiquitous. It wouldn't surprise me if over 95% of young men watch porn regularly. It's perfectly designed to hack into the male brain and is free. I have mixed feelings about porn. On one side, it totally does objectify women, make men view women less as human beings and more as sexual objects.
I don't
and
know.
all that stuff. For lots of young men, especially in the under-socialized side, porn is basically the only frame of reference they have.
I mean, porn has a long time existing. I mean, since newspapers, bro, like porn has existed for a while. Magazine, of course, it has evolved, right? Newspapers, magazines, video, television, the internet, right? It has evolved, but I don't think like that is what has destroyed society thus far. You know, I don't think it's like that bad
For women. And so they don't have the tools to realize that it's entertainment and that if you try the same stuff on a real girl, it's not going to go so great. Also, I know loads of guys who are addicted to porn, where it's something they actively resent given they need it, and they watch progressively more and more disgusting stuff at higher frequencies, since the only way to quelch the massive dopamine hits is to push further. However, I would say no man gets that stuck into porn when they actually have strong sexual opportunities. In the same way, addiction is normally a side effect of the rest of your life being dysfunctional. I largely don't believe it when people say porn has lessened people having sex, given most guys, if given the opportunity, would replace porn for sex in an instant.
Okay, guys, so here's the thing, all right? Here's the thing. Are there people addicted to like pornography? Absolutely. Is pornography the best thing in the world and like completely moral and trouble-free and baggage-free, right? No, of course not. Does it objectify women? Yeah, it does to a certain extent. So does that make it like a completely terrible thing? Well, no, there's a lot of people that do the exact same thing. Like women get objectivized on television all the time. Like all the freaking time, dude. It's not like television has destroyed modern men, right? No, it hasn't. It's like people's obsession with porn. I don't know. I feel bad for you, Jorge. You're eating and have to hear that. Yeah, it's...
Which brings me to the other side of porn, and then I'm actually
makes it even better. Is that weird?
Since I think we might have had a revolution without it. Across history, large groups of sexually frustrated young men are a great predictor for wars and national crises, since they feel the need to do something as their entire ancestral line's about to die. It wouldn't surprise me at all if porn forestalled the crisis of the 21st century by a decade, since men were able to crank it to videos of the most beautiful women in the world, rather than start revolutions. Porn, rather than religion, as Marx said, is the real opiate of the masses. Part 2. Social collapse. The Industrial Revolution has changed our lives in such a tremendous way, and in many ways, the history of the world since has been about trying to create social relations that allow us to go forward with it. However, since the task is so daunting and the process of change is so painful, we've often ended up with horrifying totalitarian ideologies that cover up the pain of uncertainty by offering total certainty, even if that's a massive lie that will kill their whole society. Due to a combination of technological and social change, society has changed at such a rapid speed that we, in America at least, are in a valueless society, in which no one really knows.
Whoa, be careful with that, man. He's talking about a valueless society just because there's less religion. I don't know. I'm not a religious person. I like to think I have like moral values, you know. So a little strange that he mentions this, but all right. I guess Ataturk wouldn't approve. It's right on the money, yeah.
What to do or what rules to maintain. The power of religion has gone in a tremendous amount, and in the process, we realize how much religion really did to create common cultural consensuses and the philosophic foundations of our society. As my right-hand man once said, a society without religion is like a nation without a capital. The thing is that raising a family
I don't know about
is really
that.
expensive for humans, in that you have to support and guide a child for 18 years at least. And so these cultural norms are necessary since they create shared rules of conduct that allow cooperation between different people to work seamlessly. In the year 1800, everyone knew what was expected from a groom, bride, the child, and the like, since the society was universally Christian. A society without shared values will experience gradual degradation and collapse, as we are now witnessing. At the same time, humans need socializing and to be taught how to be good partners, which has totally collapsed. Our modern ideology views
How to
humans
be
as
a
both
good
blank
partner.
slates and noble savages, or that humans are naturally good and kind, and society makes them bad, something that literally all the evidence does not support, and that humans can be programmed by their societies to believe whatever, which the evidence is directly opposed to. The evidence very clearly
Jordan
points to
Peterson.
there being psychological differences between the two sexes. And you can say that men and women are different without saying one is better than the other. And because they both very clearly need each other,
God.
you can't say that one sex is blanketly terrible, because without it, we'd all die.
Nobody's
And I think a good way
nobody's
of looking
doing
at-
that. Nobody is saying that one or the other sexes is terrible and shit. Like, that doesn't happen, man. That's not a thing. Like, this stereotype of like women throwing shit at men all the time, like, that doesn't exist. That's not real, dude. Like, that doesn't happen.
The differences between men and women are that men have much higher rates of autism and sociopathy. And that's because the male brain
Sociopathy.
was made for hunting and waging war as a group, and thus is much higher in systematizing. Meanwhile, the female brain was made to raise children and hold the community
whoa.
together. And so women
My
are much
man
higher
hit
in
me with some of
empathizing.
those. What the
And
fuck,
thus,
dude?
women have much higher rates
Have
of
a little
depression and
respect.
schizophrenia,
I don't
which are
know.
what happens when you get
Have
stuck
some
in your head too
respect,
much.
dude.
Coming from this, you can see men's weaknesses being sociopathic or caddish,
What? 2016 fuckboy star pack, a vape.
sure, sleeping with lots of girls and then breaking their hearts and leaving after manipulating them, or being lazy slobs and not being well put together because they don't have women's natural anchor of having to raise a child for 20 years. And at the same time, due to having to wage war and fight in groups together, men are better at coordinating structures, which is why, across the history of mankind, every large structure, whether corporations, religions, governments, militaries, were built by men. And since men built the structures, they could oppress women, which is why, for so much of human history, women have been brutally repressed. Meanwhile, for women's negatives, since men have protected them against the harshest parts of the outside world, whether clearing forests, waging war, fighting off tigers, women can afford to be more delusional, unrealistic, and emotional than men because they were protected from the harshest things. And you see this in how genetically we have twice as many female ancestors as male ancestors because so many of the male ancestors died. On top of that, society has much more expectations for men.
Hey, Tarkov, thank you so much, brother. Saying that you need religion to be moral is false. It's been proven a long time ago. I absolutely agree. That's where he really lost me. Like, a lot of non-religious people have values and a lot of religious people don't have values. Like,
because the weight
that doesn't
of
mean
women having
shit.
Children is so massive.
T-Man. Sorry, my man. I fucking forgot. I misread.
Example, you can ask
So
a young man
sorry.
to die for his country.
I'm stoned.
Never
Don't
ask that
hate
of a
on
young woman. If a young man isn't financially successful, he's a loser. Or
Lol,
in an argument,
I'm
if a
so
woman
sorry,
bursts into
dude.
tears, she can
Fuck.
still be respected, while a man
Fucking dead.
would just
I know,
be viewed as a
dude.
complete loser for
I'm
bursting
fucking
into
dead,
tears.
dude.
And because
I don't buy the religion makes people moral argument. Think about it. Independent, several religions had certain commodities in morality. So how did humans in independent societies get morals? Yeah, I know. It's just
women
like the
have
worst
the
argument.
weight of raising children, society has higher expectations for men. You can see this in dating preferences, where in a study on this, men largely want three things from a future partner. They want her to be cute, and she doesn't have to be gorgeous, interesting, and kind. Well, meanwhile, they did the same study for women. Women chose about 300 separate things for a man. Healthy societies try to push against these negative traits, often by structuring
I know you're
marriages where guys
stoned.
can only get sex if they commit to a single woman.
You need
and women
religion. You
also,
need a
in turn,
philosophy and a
curb
great
their
and great
worst
thinkers.
aspects
Yeah,
in order to
absolutely.
support their families. However, our society has what I would say is the worst socialization around sex by far of any era in history ever. This is since our current ruling class structures its power around not
So what's best? Like, should we all like go back to the 1900s when it came to sex? I
having
mean,
any sexual structures. In many ways, modern
Sexual
society is
structure.
built off the idea of the factory. And our current elite are people from college degrees who are managers of large corporations or in the government who, in fact, want to make society more like a factory and turn people into more like interchangeable cogs that can be removed from each other and have no identity. And this is why critical theory, or the post-Marxist Frankfurt School philosophers, are so popular, since by deconstructing gender, ethnicity, every other piece of identity people would have, it gives the managerial elite more power over society.
It's also kind of a weird term, like managerial elite.
The reason corporations are siding with what are generally worthwhile causes like minority rights or sexual liberation is because it can allow them to reorder society in a way that they'd want to and give them all the power. And this group controls our largest corporations. It controls...
Picking good causes to get cover for us, turning you all into serfs. Well, I guess so. Whatifalthist has one hell of a bias against college. I know, right? Yeah.
The media, Hollywood...
Like, my guy hates on college a little bit too much.
The elected government today, the higher and lower education, and larger parts of the military and defense contractors, or every major institution in society.
Yeah, just for saying
This sounds like a
stuff.
right-wing conspiracy theory on my part, but if you look at what these philosophers literally said, like the Frankfurt School, Yuri Bezmenov, or Saul Alinsky, they would literally deconstruct Western civilization and functioning organizations in society and functioning structures so that they would fall apart, so that people would have to move on to Marxism and its descendant philosophies.
Oh.
This is with the people involved who the modern
I mean, I do have to say something. He seems like he reads a lot more books than probably most of us, and definitely more than me. So I'm not going to criticize his intelligence. He's probably much more intelligent than I am, so no hate
follow
on
these
that
philosophies, quote,
whatsoever.
literally say they were doing. What critical theory literally teaches is that all the negative aspects of a culture come from the oppressor, and if you remove the oppressor, then we'll all be living in a utopia. However, if you start with the pretty reasonable assumption that no one is perfect and that we all make mistakes, from this more balanced understanding of human nature, you would come to the conclusion that the oppressed and the oppressors, as normal people, would both have done good and bad things. However, modern third-wave feminism believes that every single problem with women's existence is due to male oppression, and if you criticize a woman for anything...
Wow, not gonna lie, this is one of the reasons he dropped out. People found arguments which contradicted his ideas. No fucking shit. This video is too long and go much too deep into the subject, in my opinion. Yeah, it's probably like a little too much. Education doesn't equal intelligence. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Just that capitalism sees that shows some maltose reform. I'm too stoned. I'm too stoned to
You're sexist.
read comments. Sorry.
Is slut shaming. In real evolutionary terms, slut shaming is largely an activity.
Another comes in. Yeah, you remove
Guys
the oppressor.
want girls to be sluts and to be naked and wear as little as possible. A bill allowing toplessness in public would get massive support from young men.
I don't think
A female
so.
friend of mine once asked me, why is sleeping with lots of different guys liberating me from the patriarchy because I'm just doing what guys want me to do? And the answer is you only view it as liberating if you view the entire previous culture as oppressive, and thus by breaking the previous culture's sexual norms, you're doing something good in of itself. However, feminism blames men for slut shaming.
You smoke lemon? I've never spoken lemon. I mean, I don't know what kind of lemon you talking, but especially if you're reading books that conform to your biases.
Well, in reality,
yeah,
it's a natural
absolutely.
outgrowth of women's biological strategies. Since the value of female sex is higher, women ought to work as a union to keep the value of sex high to get as much out of men as possible.
Bro.
This is better for society because it also forces men to do as much as possible. Thus, sluts are like workers who agree to work for half the wages the union wants, thus defeating the striking workers and forcing all women to put out more sexually in order to have a relationship and get male attention. Some of the other examples are kind of hilarious. For example, I've seen feminist articles blame that office buildings are too cold because they're pandering for men or that it's men's fault that men are less interested in astrology than women. When you see stuff like this, you're looking at what amounts to unfair resentment and hatred of men, rather than any actual attempt to broaden the collective society. And that's something that young...
All right, feminism is not a stick with which to beat other women with. It's about freedom, it's about liberation, it's about equality. Feminism is about giving women choice. Yeah, that's good. I don't know why he has to say against this.
Realize that they're stuck in.
There are e-girls on social media that'll post stuff like just masturbated and then get tens of thousands of likes.
E-girls? E-girls, bro, who cares? Who gives a fuck?
And the thing I'll think to myself is, if literally anyone except an attractive girl posted that, it would be the end of their career and social life.
I consider myself a decently handsome guy, and if I did that...
A decently handsome guy, bro! I don't know, man. I don't think he's a good looking... I mean, I think he's pretty average. I don't know. The boys are down bad, LOL. Aren't these girls like in their early 20s? Yeah,
career,
most of them, yeah.
Alienating myself from a good amount of my friends.
Not like I know much about.
However, since a girl does it, it's sex positive, which means good for some reason. Critical theory gets its power from...
You were the one who was against pornography, dude. You were the one who just preached us all about porn.
Dismantling the previous structures of society. Fuck. It views this as a moral good in of itself and doesn't put any thought in... Wait, maybe since this social structure exists in every society since the dawn of time, it might be necessary. Thus, to encourage women to have sex all the time is good.
Who make this video? Unfortunately, Whatifalthist. He wants to go.
Simply since it breaks against convention, because convention must be oppressive. However,
maybe that's all of he wants, you know? He just needs a little bit of the puss-puss
process of mating and having children to work. These people need to be able to predict and trust each other's actions.
Why?
I mean, also, where did the idea that men and women should be equal in every single regard?
Why am I doing this to us?
Men and women are pretty different biologically, with, I mean, their different sexual purposes being the most evident form of it, but they also have different neurological structures, different personality averages.
Yeah.
And since there's diversity in all things in the world, between ethnic groups, between lingual groups, why would you expect men and women to get the exact same outcomes? And why would that only be a function of oppression?
My brain is going off. I know, my brain hurts right now. My social brain, my social brain, that's the one that hurts.
In some ways, it makes sense given the pill was invented only 60 years ago.
Funny thing is, he thinks he has God.
Sex being inextricably linked to
He's religious, apparently. He's a Quaker.
From that perspective, it makes sense that the pressure cooker that came out of it would say sex in all circumstances was good, especially for women, who bear by far the heaviest weight from sex. There's a fascinating book called The Moral Animal by Robert Wright, which goes through how humans evolved to have the dating and sexual customs we do, and how so many of our behaviors are driven by evolutionary psychology.
Nice.
One of the most fascinating points it makes is that you need to view the different sexes and even different social groups within the sexes as competing to push their own self-interest in Darwinism. The social customs and genetic wiring we have is the result of compromises that
lemon weed is the best thing I've smoked in my life. I haven't smoked that, man. I just smoke like regular weed, but it's fucking nice.
The social customs and genetic wiring we have is the subconscious result of millions of years of Darwinistic self-selection on what both of the sexes are willing to agree to in order to have kids. However, one of the very interesting points he makes is that men have different genetic strategies, as we talked about women having so earlier, where they divide women into the biological categories of I'll sleep with her and she can raise the kid, or I'll marry her. This is called the Madonna whore complex and has been shown in scientific studies, which seems kind of ludicrous to me since any straight male can explain this. The argument he makes is that
this guy needs Dionysus to wake him a gay wake-up call
and make women seem as pure as possible in order to push the Madonna button as hard as possible so guys would get married and form stable society.
However, society asks both men and women to be sexually liberated and then is shocked when it receives the consequences that you would expect from those actions. I've talked a lot here about how feminism has been misapplied in our age group, but I think it's really important to have empathy with young women and see where young women are coming from, because as a demographic, young women are the most depressed population, and have had rates of depression and self-harm and all that stuff.
By doing this video, he is messed himself intellectually by blaming other people other than himself. That's all. Yeah, you can't blame other people because then you have to say that everyone but you is wrong.
Massive amounts over the last 20 years, and they're the most depressed in the historic record.
Jesus
a lot of this
Christ.
stemming from social media, where they have nonstop competition and judgment, as well as unfair beauty standards. Also, the breakdown of social communities have had harder effects on women's psychology than men's.
I mean, a point I'd like to make is that it's actively against the self-interest of third-wave feminism to make women happy. If women have good relationships with men, live fulfilling lives and the like, they're not going to push for the movement's goals. Feminism, in hating men, the family, community, society,
pride.
leaves women feeling isolated. As Eric Hoffer said in his book on totalitarian movements, they isolate the individual from everything else except the movement, leaving them in a void where only the movement can fill the holes in their psyches. There's a spectrum in
his contempt is pretty clear. Yeah, social Darwinism has caused some real damage in society. At this point, I can't relate at all. Yeah, like at all, bro. He's just like being pretty weird.
Cognition between men and women, or empathizing and systematizing. If you push the male brain too far, you get autism, and if you push the female brain too far, you get social justice, which empathizes without the ability to think or act coherently. This is why the common stereotype is that women are unrealistic and act out of emotion, since they had to evolve to be more emotional and empathetic as a way to help raise the next generation into stable, happy adults, while men had to evolve to be more systematizing in order to hunt as a group. However, modern society is no moral structure for young women, having absolutely no standards to measure them against. If you ever criticize a woman, you will be called sexist. A crazy extension of this logic is with the hashtag #MeToo movement, where any woman can cancel any man's career with absolutely no...
This video is so dumb. Yeah. You don't get autism? Oh my god.
Which is completely insane, and of course it would be abused.
Never tried
I know several
weed,
guys who have been
sadly.
unfairly Me
Always too
Too'd.
busy studying, and
often a
also
way
it's
for a girl
illegal in
to have
Ohio.
leverage
Damn,
over a
bro.
guy where the guy does
Hey, one day,
something
yeah.
she like
Take a trip to Michigan. It's gonna be, I promise, absolutely worth it.
sleeping with one
It's
of
nice.
her friends, or leaving her after a hookup, or
That's
she just
not Me
feels
Too,
gross
yeah.
after the hookup, and it's a way of getting back at the guy. And our society provides absolutely no consequences or responsibility around it.
It's normal for power without check to drive
It's illegal in Germany? Are you serious? I don't know. Germany is a pretty liberal country. I'm surprised that
people
it's
crazy and to get abused.
I mean, you can go to the Netherlands, right? I think it's pretty close, and
there are countless
fucking
historical
wasted.
examples of this, with emperors.
it's also
being
illegal in
dime
the
a dozen.
UK.
And I hear a lot of women
Well, it's
say,
for
why don't guys
medical
pick us up in
uses.
bookstores or coffee shops anymore? And the answer is, every dude I know who has beyond
Yeah,
a certain
exactly.
degree of dating experience.
If you make a false allegation, it will be found out, and legal action against you will not be pretty. Yeah, exactly.
has had an experience where they've done something
You should make it legal
innocuous,
to control it.
and a woman has reacted
Yeah.
in a totally overblown way, and it makes it kind of scary to take chances anymore.
This whole situation.
No,
has added
it
a really
doesn't. Guys, are you scared of talking to women? I mean, I know we are all scared to talking to women, but like I said, a scary thing. Are you scared for your life? Are you scared about false allegation just because you said hello to a girl? Is that really like a thing? But the government plans to legalize it this year. This year, dude, that you're gonna have a good time, right? Maybe we disagree with this video, but we can all agree that Belma, the new Belma series is horrible. Yeah, we can absolutely agree with that. It's fucking awful. I watched just the first episode. I'm like, bro, this is like foolish. This is ridiculous. No, just to women. I'm not scared of talking to women. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine talking to women. Yeah, I know exactly.
degree of paranoia.
It's not like this
cynicism
huge
in
thing.
dating.
There's
I've
a
been talking
CBD
lot
shop
about the
near my
flaws in
house.
women so far,
CBD
but for
is
men,
good,
things aren't sunshine
but
and roses either.
well,
Women
no, it's
complain
pretty
that men are
good, especially
disgusting
like to
losers or
relax.
fuckboys,
I've
both
heard
of
that.
which I would say are generally true. A big reason for this.
Fuckboy 2022 starter pack. Like that curly bust hair, long eyelashes, 110%, lots of cologne, babes 24/7, and what's your snap?
Is there a society
No cap.
demonizes masculinity?
Oh,
and so
God.
the ideas and stuff that men would use to make themselves more admirable and attractive to women are either frowned upon or
Yeah,
just
New
don't
Bell.
exist in
Yeah, it's
society.
garbage TV.
Men
Yeah.
use the idea of pride or meaning as a way to offset the difficulties of life, but modern society really provides neither. Young men are incredibly lost and depressed today, with
Exactly,
no one
yeah.
taking any direction forward,
Shy
and
girls
their society
exist.
telling them that they are the source of all problems.
This is why young men follow cult leaders like Jordan Peterson or Andrew
Hey.
Tate, spend their lives playing video games or watching porn, and other things, because as a general rule, if young men have nothing worth dying for, they have nothing worth living for.
The
However,
Sigma
society
grind
tells
set,
young men just to
bro.
go to their jobs and keep their heads down. meaning
Baldy,
there
yeah,
isn't
a little
simply
baldy.
any way for men to appear attractive that's socially accepted, and life cannot
Oh,
be
God,
glorious or
Tate,
heroic,
yeah,
which is what
fuck that
men need
guy.
to believe. This is why the movie Fight Club is so popular, because it's the perfect embodiment of what being a young man today feels like. An example of this sort of thing is that it's really bifurcated in what kinds of attractive men women fantasize about in our society. Either the strictly
Werewolves,
predatory,
beasts.
like werewolf, Christian
Bruh.
Grey, vampire, rappers, and the like, or the completely effete, like Orlando Bloom, One Direction.
What? What the fuck, bro? Surgeons? Billionaires? Pirates? Werewolves? Or beasts? What? Look, the human trafficker, yeah. Well, that could have worked as a concept for a dude. Yeah, I would have loved like an adult Scooby-Doo version, but I think it was a little bit just bad writing. You know, it's just all there is bad writing.
Machine Gun Kelly. And this is since society is incapable of respecting an archetype of a man who has reached his masculinity in a healthy, pro-social manner, like the cowboy, knight, hero, Mr. Darcy and the like.
Huh? I mean, I wouldn't mind dating a billionaire. Not sure about vampires, though.
Without
Yeah.
that, of course,
Fuck it. I'll date a billionaire, dude.
Men lack socialization in modern society and are kind of just left out in limbo. I remember I was living in Mexico at age 19 with a bunch of guys, including a professional dating coach who was
Oh, what? He was living in Mexico. Holy shit. He was living here. Bro. And look at that, man. You know, he gained some weight. Well, before intervention. Yeah, what the fuck? He lived in Mexico. And he has like a big iguana. And he was chubby. He was kind of like a little chubby. And apparently living in Mexico solved his life. Now you guys know, move to Mexico and your problems will be solved.
friend of mine, and he pulled me over.
I wouldn't
and told
mind a
me
sugar
I
daddy
need to
or
change
sugar
how I
mama.
dress, lose weight, become more socially aware, and the like in order to get girls. I totally changed my life, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. But what I've come to realize is that most men have never had a conversation or moment like that, or really anyone who has given them
Again, kind of a weird
appraisal
flex,
on
but
how to be
alright.
attractive to women, since society is
He's our
uncomfortable
neighbor
with the
now,
idea
yeah.
of having any standards or stereotypes. Also,
Who needs
most
a
young
girlfriend
men
when
don't
you've
really
got
have
an
squads
iguana?
of bros who will tell them what are the good things to do, or know a lot of girls who will say, "Holy shit, you can't do that." A very large amount of men really don't know how to flirt with women, dress well, and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
no, you're right. Yeah, it didn't solve his life. In fact, it made him more miserable. Yeah, he's still a miserable self-help guru.
Without this socializing, you get a
Oh,
large
God.
class of genuinely
If you're
creepy
searching
and weird young
women,
men.
you won't
All
find
of my
them.
attractive
Yeah.
female friends have told me that they've had really strange and creepy
just happens to
experiences
do
with guys
alternate
doing
history,
bizarre and
John.
horrifying stuff, since society has no boundaries.
One of the major themes here is that you can't expect people to really be sane anymore, where for both men and women,
What?
it often seems like just extremely sociopathic or deranged or bizarre things have become much more normal as socialization is broken down.
Although this is certainly an overreaction, girls' top fears in first dates are that the guy is a serial killer. This is the origin of school shooters, in that these men realize they're screwed, but know that no one really does care about them since society is so atomized. The other thing girls dislike about guys is fuckboyism, which is a natural extension of male psychology, of trying to breed as much as possible, in a society that pushes for what amounts to free love and with the pill. In my opinion, although many of my best friends are fuckboys, they kind of destroy the sexual habitat since they create a low-trust environment where women feel burned.
He sure has a lot of female friends that he answered their questions about. Yeah. Imagine being like an actual female talking to Whatifalthist.
like junk food
Jesus.
that was eaten and thrown out.
From a guy's perspective, I understand being
When a guy
fuckboy
likes you versus-
because it's in their innate nature.
You actually
and it's
start liking
fundamentally
him
the girl's
back.
responsibility for having slept with you.
Fuckboys leave in their trace lots of bitter women who then close themselves off from dating and men in general. Since the fuckboys are the ones that put themselves out more, women run into them more.
Dude,
I've heard genuine horror stories from women I know about guys they've dated, with some having very serious issues. What I think is that for these types of guys with psychological issues, sex is an obsession, so they're always looking for it. While the guys who would make better boyfriends or husbands are, I don't know, just busy living their lives. This is the origin of the statistic of why 15% more women say they're in relationships than men, since 4 girls can
he talks like it's everyone. What the fuck? All this...
fuckboy. I actually know more men who are in situations like that with 4 girls that they're sleeping with and not actually in relationships than guys I know who are actually in traditional committed relationships. The general system I've seen in a lot of colleges is lots of girls pining after a couple fuckboy Chad types who use them for sex while the lower value guys don't get any sex. Another interesting point about the success of fuckboys really makes me wonder about attachment issues. Attachment issues are when you are incapable of being loved normally, or looking for relationships where the other partner can healthily reciprocate love. The reason I say this is that the guys who are the douchiest tend to do better with women, to a degree that doesn't seem like it should be happening with healthy evolutionary psychology.
This video gets worse. This video gets worse the longer it is. Holy shit. I mean, it's just now... He's talking nonsense. I don't even know who this man is anymore.
This on a personal basis, since when I started going to dates, acting like I was totally and low-key hating the girl, girls started
low-key hating the girl. She wasn't as smart as me.
The fact is that people are scared to express their actual emotions because attachment problems are so terrible. Where I've gone on dates where the girl has said, "You are my ideal."
Imagine going on a date with Whatifalthist. That would be such a terrible date.
Man, I want to spend all my life with you. I want to be with your friends, all that stuff. And then she's not interested in me. And then I've been on dates where I thought the girl hated me. And then it turned out she was in love with me. And it's...
Oh, and I don't even want to pronounce your username because I'm going to be terrible at it. But here's somebody else. Thanks for gathering us together. So now we can all suffer from this lobotomy. Shit. I've been discovered. So sorry. Yeah, this was a little bit too much. Jesus Christ, should have listened to the warnings. But thank you very much.
It's because in modern dating, to express any excitement or happiness or other big emotions
Andrew Tate good, me deserve wife. Yeah, this guy. I am a man. I deserve wife. I need wife. Yeah, thank you. I got depressed when I found out he wasn't a both IRL.
Possible, which makes it a lot less pleasant or fun. And I mean, a big reason for that is because there are no social standards, and we live in such an anxious age because our culture is primarily driven off anxiety.
He really does love flexing about strange books.
Or any
like, look what I'm reading.
Is terrifying when you're first meeting a person. You see these attachment problems with popular romance novel characters often being complete sociopaths, whether with Christian Grey, Twilight vampires, and the like. Attachment problems have become the norm, where for a majority of the population, the idea of being loved is psychologically painful for them. This could have happened for a variety of reasons, but I spoke to the world's expert on attachment, and he said that it's been a process that started around
World War I, expert in attachment
with the baby boomers, and is in a very bad place now. On a broader level, this lack of trust and cooperation between the sexes has promulgated a massive divorce rate, which now stands at half of all marriages. This affects even the highest class of men like Bill
Golden
Gates.
Toaster, I'm here but can't talk for a while. It's okay, brother.
Johnny Depp, Jeff Bezos, Kanye, Elon Musk, and that sort. Divorces are initiated 70% by women, and among college-educated women, 90%. This is probably since the court systems are insanely biased towards women, often with it being normal that they take the kids and the vast majority of the money. You'll hear countless horror stories if you look for them. However, marriage is a foundational part of society, and once you weaken it, you weaken the whole stability of a civilization.
I legit thought that said the lonely coward was gonna make a joke of Whatifalthist of that being him.
Men work hard with the knowledge that they can get married and reap the rewards that come from it. However, once you remove marriage's stability, it suddenly removes men's incentives to better themselves, and also creates a class of single mothers, which creates massive social issues in of itself. In his fascinating book, Sex and Civilization, J.D.
I mean, is he high? I want to have whatever he's having. Holy shit. I want to get to that state of mind. You know, U.S. Army soldier gets wife is cheating, and this happens. It's literally the most based response I've seen in this video. He just make it all sound like these divorces are not justified. It's just a doomer. He really is a doomer, right? I mean,
one goes through basically every civilization in the world.
he's like
in
really,
many
really a
historical
doomer.
societies, to show that once societies weaken sexual restrictions, and especially marriage, they degrade socially. This is since people don't have the incentive
Self-sufficient.
to invest
Yeah, they
in
don't need to be
society,
dependent
since they're either
on a
competing
guy.
over sex, or they don't think their biological inheritance is assured. Once a society collapses all its sexual restrictions, it
I
takes
am
about
man.
a century, but he
I
predicted
must
Western
fight for my
civilization
woman.
would fall into barbarism from 1960 to 2060. And it definitely seems like we're headed in that direction as our society becomes less and less functional. Another angle I haven't really gotten to in this video, but is really important, and that's because I cover it in almost every other video, is the economic and the political and the social. Where we live in really hard economic and political and social times, and that bleeds into dating, where lots of young people simply cannot afford to have a family and are really financially
What is he even trying to say in this video? I don't know. I am man. I deserve wife.
We're also a
I
polarized
like Andrew
society,
Tate.
which makes it very difficult to date people with different political allegiances. And I didn't talk about this a lot
So
because
what?
this is such...
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if you're gonna marry someone, you want them to have similar values like you have.
big topic on my channel, but I wanted to...
A doomer isn't
just throw
that.
in. Part 3.
Jesus,
Are
is that
we
even
in a
worse?
zoo? So far, the things I've talked about are the things that most of you could probably figure out on your own on an intuitive basis. Sure, technology in our society's culture creates problems with dating. However, the thing I'm going to propose next is something a lot of you probably can't even imagine, and will unsettle a lot of your worldviews. This is that urban humans today have lots of behaviors reminiscent of zoo animals. Zoo animals experience tremendous anxiety, pace around, have weird tics like licking off their fur, overeating, have to use drugs, masturbate obsessively, be unable to have children,
Jesus.
grinding their teeth, over-grooming, and depression. All of which are normal in modern
Are we in a
industrial
zoo?
societies.
What about this
The biggest
2023?
primatologist of the last century, Desmond Morris, has written several fascinating books that talk about this. I mean, in all reality, how different is modern...
That's true, though. If politics are enough to divide our relationship, it probably wasn't that great. In industrial societies, kids are as expensive and guys sure as hell aren't going to make enough money to afford most homes' apartments on their own. Yeah. Now imagine sustaining a whole family.
Industrial civilization in all actuality from a zoo. Many of
So
us
yes.
live in highly controlled boxes that we barely leave, especially with the internet. Our society protects us from any real threats. We do monotonous tasks to get our daily supply of food. We're surrounded by strangers at all times, and we really don't have control of our lives. Rather, large transnational forces do and the like. I like the quote,
Jesus.
"What you do to others will happen to you." And humanity, after centuries or millennia of caging its animals, has put itself into a cage. The thing to consider is that we aren't that different at all from those animals. We evolved to live in the wild, and religious tribes in the wilderness struggling together against the wild. Once you remove those conditions, we've stopped doing the things we evolved to do in the first place. In the same way that those lions and
stability
elephants
is
should
an
not be
illusion.
stuck in cages
Oh no, he's gonna
and
talk
out
about the
in packs
Matrix
in the
now.
wild.
Yeah, it sounds like he's like talking about these fucking conspiracy theories.
living their
Jesus
lives.
Christ!
Even
man.
if they're much safer in the zoos, so should we.
Oh, the wolf.
Something that modern civilization ignores is that the part of our brain that deals with emotion and also by
Lions,
extension
because
instinct
lions
is
are
exactly
strong.
the same as other mammals. So the feelings of love, loneliness, horniness, and like that we
Capybara.
feel are the exact same as a dog or a cat. We are animals. This brings up a separate perspective when you deal with the blank slate people, who say that human society should conform to their supposedly just and rational views of the world. But the thing I would say is that if humans evolved to have a certain kind of gender relations, you have to go with the grain to a great degree, whether or not you like it. Chimpanzees are naturally patriarchal, bonobos matriarchal, and gorillas polygamous in all of their communities. If you tried to build a monogamous gorilla society, patriarchal bonobo and the like, it would just fail. And you would see those apes being depressed and they wouldn't have children. Why would our societies be any different? All the science points to a massive part, but not all of our gender relations being genetically wired from...
Yeah, my brain is just melted. I now like all I'm hearing is like I can't. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be back in 10 minutes. Wish me good luck. You're not missing much. In fact, I recommend that everyone goes do something else for 10 minutes and then we'll come back and discuss it.
Birth. And large parts of them are
Yeah,
universal in all
what's the deal with the
cultures. An
animals?
important
Why should I
comparison that
care?
ought to be made between zoo animals and modern industrial societies is the lack of agency. Although I don't condone terrorism, I think Ted Kaczynski makes an interesting point on how difficult it is to have power
Wait, what
over
was that?
zoo animals and modern industrial societies is the lack of agency.
And I don't support terrorism. What? What the fuck was that?
Although I don't condone terrorism, I
Yeah. Bro is like, I don't condone terrorism. Like, do you guys like, bro? Yeah, what's that
think
supposed
Ted
to
Kaczynski
mean?
makes an interesting point on
Okay,
how difficult
yeah.
it is to have power
Sure.
over your life in modern society. How we feel like useless cogs in the machine where we're surrounded by uncaring strangers and the machine of industrial bureaucratic civilization. We work in large corporations for a
Jesus
boss who doesn't give a
Christ.
fuck about us, who tells us when and how to work, where the only thing expected of us is obedience in our time. We often live in big cities that make us feel like ants. And when we get old, we get shoved into retirement homes while we were raised by strangers at daycares and taught at schools to make us useful little cogs. You need to compare this to the pre-modern world where almost everyone you
That
dealt
came
with
out of
was
field, yeah.
someone you knew
Out of
from
left
childhood.
field, yeah.
And your only authority in government was the local lord.
That's
and
strange.
prince.
That's
The
odd.
greatest scholar of depression today, Johann Hari, has from studies found the conditions of powerlessness kind of cause our spirits to die, for us to lose creativity, initiative, and the like, and I'm guessing sexual virility. An example he gives is in his book is that after 12 hours of shaking paint as your job, the only thing you want to do is die on the couch in front of your TV and you don't have the energy to build your community, create, and the like. Things like this deaden us and suppress our drive to breed in the same way the monotony of the zoo means animals.
Oh, that is the
An interesting
Unabomber.
example
Okay,
I want to bring up is
okay.
that there was an experiment that was run a couple times in the 60s called
Bro wouldn't last one day in the Middle Ages, even though he glorifies it. Yeah. My phone is discharged. No, I can't clown. What
Mouse
about this now?
Utopia. And it's an experiment where they put 8
Damn,
mice
we're all
in a
clowning on him
large
so
cage
fucking
and then
much.
gave them infinite amounts of food. So it was kind of utopia where the mice could breed indefinitely. And so going from 8 mice to 2,200 mice, and as overcrowding set in, you started to see fascinating results where the colony started to fall apart, not even reaching the threshold of the maximum amount of population it could have, but due to living in a utopia with so many mice with no real threats, the mouse social structure started to break apart.
Female mice became more aggressive, with female mother mice pushing their sons out too young and not educating them
Straight from the
properly.
manifesto.
We saw a
Jesus
cast of male
Christ.
mice who refused to breed but
That's
would
fucked
overgroom
up.
themselves, looking very effeminate, called the beautiful ones, and the mice stopped having children. There were growing groups of outcast generation mice that would hang out in the middle of the colony since they had nowhere to go.
Okay, well, so basically
Mice
we're the
society
mice.
is based around alpha males having harems, but that system collapsed. You saw collapses in social connections as mice stopped being able to form friendships and young female mice refused to breed, isolating themselves from men in society. Due to having a utopia where everyone was able to breed, thus resulting in the population going up enormously, thus causing overpopulation, the society fell apart. The mouse colony failed with the population crashing from 2200
This is a
to
clown
0.
show, yeah.
I'm sure you can draw a tremendous amount of parallels between this mouse society and our current one, between young people's unwillingness to have children, the rising homelessness crisis, and countless others.
Another thing I'm going to
Yeah, I
throw in is
guess.
that the parts of our brain that control for sex and emotion are largely the same between mice and humans, where the only real difference between less
Yeah,
developed
sure.
mammals and human brain structures is that humans have a larger prefrontal cortex that controls self-discipline and rational planning, but the emotions that decide how that prefrontal cortex
I am a
gets
mouse,
used
actually.
are the same.
You went
across
back to the
mammals.
alpha males.
However,
Yeah,
I
I
like to bring up Japan as an example
God
where this
damn
whole trajectory is pushed incredibly far. Japan's an example of what the Western world should desperately try to avoid. 25% of Japanese men in their 30s are virgins.
You could put on
Over
Sun in the
40% of
Clouds
both
and it's
sexes,
more
ages
informative
18 to
than this.
34 are virgins. In Japan, we see both groups of men in the mouse
I
experiment.
see why he doesn't go to college, because this presentation is just a mess.
With the so-called herbivore men who have no sense of
yeah, my
masculinity,
brain hurts,
hiding
like,
themselves in
literally.
video games and porn alongside the effeminate beautiful one pop stars, with neighboring Korea being a great example of K-pop. Japan has the lowest birth rate of any nation in the world, and is also the nation that has the least sex in general. their population is projected to halve over the next few decades. My wonderful researcher Seamus has gone on an in-depth research project on the factors that drive population growth or stable birth rates. What he found is that society needs a combination of things in order to have a
Part of my college experience was dealing with academic
Greek
rigor.
Religious,
Is that how you
and,
pronounce it?
to be perfectly honest, on the negative side of things, if women are less educated and it's patriarchal. This makes some degree of sense given those are the conditions that humanity evolved with. I don't want to go full Boko Haram and deny women education, but at the same time, I don't think industrial civilization can survive until it becomes religious and rural again, since non-rural, non-religious...
What? We need to become rural and religious? Oh God, that's not a world I want to live in.
You never see urban populations ever in history that are replaceable, even in the pre-industrial world. Industrial countries normally go through incredibly rapid population growth during industrialization, and then their populations collapse very quickly. A point I've made before in these videos is that there isn't a single successful atheist society ever in history. At the same time, there was never a successful majority urban society before the Industrial Revolution. The reason that this is all so dire is that the industrial world is on an imminent trajectory for mass population collapse to a horrifying degree, like what I've mentioned in Japan. For Russia, China, most of Europe, South Korea, a lot of British Commonwealth countries and the like, we're looking at their populations going down by half by the end of the century. For the United States, the most rural...
I don't want to hear what I missed. Oh, you really didn't miss much.
A few more decades at most. The third world, which is urbanized but is still poor, you're seeing insanely rapid population growth collapses in places like Latin America, India, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and the like. Even Africa, the only area with a still rapid population growth, is seeing said population growth collapsing at a very fast rate, faster than anyone imagined, with Africa too going to see declining populations in a few decades. It's hard to imagine how crippling this process might be. In a lot of these countries, like
industrial
Germany
societies
and China,
are
there
practically new.
Two
Yeah,
7-year-olds for each 25-year-old, which literally
if you just went full
means these
Boko
countries'
Haram, though.
collapses as functioning societies. In the wreckages of crises like this, of population collapses, and all the political and cultural drama that must go with that, I would imagine the rural and religious would inherit the world, since they would be the few to have children and thus create the next generations, that or immigrants. In some ways, it reminds me of the end of the classical world, where the urban societies of the Greeks, Romans, and Persians were replaced by the stronger breeding rural populations, thus resulting in the redneckification of both empires around 200 AD,
redneckification,
the rise in religious fanaticism, collapsing populations, and de-urbanization, and then afterwards, the rise of the barbarian Slavs, Germans, and Arabs, who had much higher birth rates to dominate.
Yeah, barely 200 years was the rest of our history. His comparison is stupid.
In it,
really
the world
stupid.
becomes overpopulated, incredibly decadent in the 20th and through the 21st centuries. Then the world system falls apart, plagues ravage the world, the birth rate collapses, and America falls into a civil war between religious rednecks and inner city gangs, who were both trying to inherit the country as the mainstream American culture withers into decadence. The rednecks win and rebuild America in their image, similar to the rise of Christianity and the barbarians in the fall of Rome.
This is the future we're looking at as a society if we cannot fix our birth rate.
I think that's a huge reason. Yeah, the big reason birth rates are so low is just constant overwork. You don't industrialize. Yeah, what the fuck is this? I don't know, bro.
As an explanation of modern dating would.
This is something that I'm
Jesus
genuinely
Christ.
worried about, because if you look across history, large groups of sexless young men are one of the best predictors for wars, state collapses, mass violence, and the like.
Bunch of
And this is
sexless men. He's trying to say, oh, we are dangerous.
probably one of the worst eras in history for that. And as I've said before in
We are
previous
dangerous,
videos,
bro.
I think the far right will seize control of society over the next couple decades. And I'm
The
currently
far
working on a
right?
video about that. And I talked about it
What?
before, but since my audience is over 90% young men, and I honestly believe that the leaders of that movement are currently fans of this YouTube channel. The 15-year-olds that'll run the fascist dictatorship in 2040 are probably watching this right now. And as your cool older brother, I thought I'd just drop 2 pieces of advice. The first is it's so easy to get stuck in your hormones as a young guy and just go crazy. And
We are the Virgin Army. We demand the women now.
The amount of pussy you get when you're 21 or 19 or anything like that
Bro, what?
has very
He has a
little bearing
tinfoil
upon the
hat.
rest of your
Yeah.
life,
What the
because your hormones
fuck's
are
going
genetically
on?
wired for you to start having kids
What?
because that's what you needed to in the tribal world.
The
But now
tribal
you're
world, bro? What the
hopefully
fuck are you
using
talking about?
contraception. And my father once said that the value of a man is determined by his degree of honor. And Rudyard Kipling, my namesake, said that a man's ability to hold his head above a baying crazy crowd determines his value. I mean, boo fuckity who. Whoever told you life would be easy as a man? It could be so much worse. You could be starving, you could be in a war, and fundamentally, when all said
What is
and
it
done,
with him
you're
and
great,
African
you'll be
tribal
just-
women? I noticed it too. It was like, it's the second or third picture of African tribal. Maybe he likes it though. I don't know. He's whining a lot for a strong, silent, a Sigma male.
stand with honor
I get a lot of sex. A lot of my friends are
where I
CEOs.
needed to. And the second point is I see a lot of demonization of women as a group in this right-wing
Yeah,
space that I think
it's
will
because
gain
of
a lot
you.
more power. And I don't think that's right, because once you dehumanize a group, you remove their agency and story as a real people. And women today
Bro,
live
search that
pretty
term.
not great lives, and they have their own problems. In the
This guy
same way
has no
men do.
honor. Oh,
And I
yeah,
completely
absolutely.
understand why young men feel this way, because radical feminism blames men for everything in a really unfair way. So it feels as if it's fair to go the other way, but it's really not fair.
That doesn't really
And I can tell you
happen.
from personal
But
experience, there are lots of wonderful women out there in the same way that there are lots of wonderful men. And we're all really just struggling against a harsh and often painful world, but one that also has beauty and meaning. I promise
He's a
you that
doomer.
at
He
some
really
point
is a
things will
doomer.
get better, just because that's always the case with recessions. And our society will fall apart if they don't get better, and our society is not dumb enough that it won't work through a lot of these problems, especially adapting to technology. And I mean, if you want to say this is a
he
sexual
thinks
Great
he's wise,
Depression,
but
then
yeah,
wouldn't you
he
want
has
to be
no
young
such doing.
during
He
the
sounds like a
Depression
fucking
so that
crazy
when
man.
you're older and trying to get married, you could be
Sounds
doing
like an
it in the
incel,
golden
to
age
be
of the
honest.
50s.
That's it? Holy shit. What the fuck? So, that was quite the video, huh? Finally, it's over. God damn it. Well, that was fun. Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, it was pretty fun because we were throwing shit at him. But at the end, it was like really painful. It's just like, dude, it's taking the L after taking the L. It's just like really bad. Women break the sprinting world record when they see him. Yeah, he used to go to college. Yeah, and he reads a lot of books, and that's I think I trusted him a little bit too much. You know, like I think I overestimated him, but he is a little crazy-ish, a little insane. He's a scary, yeah. He's gonna become the king of the incels. I don't know, bro. I just thought that shit was funny, and I wanted to watch it on stream. What are the comments like in the video? Yeah, good question. What are some of the comments? What are the comments saying? The fact that both men and women are unhappy with the dating scene shows that there's something seriously wrong with the sexual status quo. All right. That's not he's just a nerdier version of Andrew Tate. He's like a nerd, Andrew Tate, yeah. Dating apps create now let's go to like the lower comments. Like let's go to thank you, Rudyard. This was fascinating. I am the unicorn in your fan base. A 60-year-old woman who found you when you were doing more straight art history stuff and have followed you ever since. I am a boomer with 4 Zoomers and your recent video. What? I'm grateful that you have branched out to do social commentary as well as alternate history. Looking for drama. Oh, yeah. We love the drama. Something that I have never seen anyone talk about is how when many Gen Z and millennials were in school, it was common, at least in the schools that I attended, for teachers to quite blatantly tell the girls in the class about the struggles and achievement of the second wave feminism. So yeah, anti-feminism stuff. I'm not gonna read this. Jesus Christ, looking for a drama. Oh man. I want to find like an incel. Okay. I am a 22-year-old American, and I'd like to congratulate you for being so spot on. Your overview is a great summary of a current dating predicament. I was laughing when you were hyping up your target audience as the potential leaders of tomorrow. I'm planning to become a digital nomad too, which was a nice coincidence to hear. Is he a dating nomad? I think that's a little strange. All right, hear me out. So I know because I am self-employed too. I am a digital nomad, but I don't travel. So I work from my home. I've heard from a lot of like people inside the digital nomad world that a lot of them are just straight up incels that go to like Thailand and Southeast Asia to get women, you know? I think it's a little strange now finding out that he's actually a digital nomad. You know, he works from his computer and he moves from country to country. That's why he was living in Mexico. He just likes living in the third world, I imagine. Reminds me of Nick Johnson. Oh, yeah. What a horrible guy. I think you need to drink water. Yeah, good idea. I need to hydrate of this. Oh, my brain needs a little bit. Hydrate, everyone. Yeah, the sex pads. Yeah, exactly, dude. You know, white guys on their early 20s or 30s, you know, just going to Thailand and Vietnam and like, you know, it's weird, right? When you see an older white guy in Thailand, like, you know why he's there for. Either some ladies or some lady boys, I don't know, but they are into something. That's funny though. That's fucking insane. He's a digital nomad. My husband and I. Before even starting with this video, I know why I'm alone. Modern dating sucks and I don't want to risk getting screwed down the line by divorce. And there we go. This is a very salty man that was told that if he got a divorce, he was going to lose everything. You know, I know the reason why I am alone. It's because of other people. It's not because of me. It's not because of me. It's because of women or divorces or other stuff. Just, yeah, that's trust fund white guys. Oh, man. That was funny. That was a funny video. Why white? Well, I feel that's just a stereotype, but maybe it's not. Well, of course, there's a lot of like black or Latino guys that are incels and that go to other countries. I feel like it's the white guys who like to date foreigners, you know? It's just my impression, maybe. Trust fund white guys. Jesus Christ, this video was painful to watch. I mean, Whatifalthist has gone insane. He has gone the Andrew Tate rabbit hole. I don't know I don't know him anymore. He needs to get hobbies. That's all. Something to focus on. Yeah, I would agree to that. Anyways, guys, do me a favor. Drink some water, right? Stay hydrated because that was intense. He's going weird. It's just the stereotypes. Yeah, it's a stereotype. It's not something like for real. But talking about stereotypes, I need to go. I need to do a few things of work. But I was glad I could, you know, stream for a little while and just see this video of Whatifalthist. But anyways, it was a good stream. It was a fun stream. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, like Warhammer or something. Yeah, something, dude. Anything helps. Anyways, see you guys on a later stream. Peace out. Lemon haze for sure. Thank you, brother. Thank you all.